This is your daily market recap for Wednesday, May 11, 2022. Congrats, friends. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Wednesday, May 11th, 2022. Another amazing day on the Discord room. Great trading, great entries, great price action for our shorts. Covered some long, sold some covered calls. Literally cannot do any better. I'm going to give myself a little pat on the back. Typically don't brag or boast, and I really am not. I've been here before. I know how this market kind of works. I know how this stuff plays out, but honestly, I want to give a shout out and clap for those who are following, because the people that are newer, who are paying attention to this stuff and following well, learning, purchasing the reading materials that are just books that I think are the only books you need for trading, and a Coulling volume price analysis. Again, link is in the description below. If you want, I get an affiliated link. I'll make a solid $1 off your book buy if you want to donate to the education fund for others. But yeah, it's the market. You know, we've been pretty much on top of this, been trading for a long time. I expect to understand what's going on, and I hope people who are newer to trading pick up that they need to educate themselves. And there's also a lot of people that are following that. I feel like this is the crowd that I cater to, is the people who've been trading a long time, have made money, lost money, and they just need that one thing. They're just one little change in trading, mental state, understanding of the markets that kicks them off into making money. And to do it successfully, continuously. Again, now, nothing is promised. There's no certainty, but there also is an ability to raise the probabilities of winning versus acting out of emotion and gambling. And if that's the kind of coach you're looking for in trading, that's what this room promotes. Again, it's all free. I'm just showing people what I do. And if you can take my teaching and make it your own, that's the goal here. It's not to make you follow me. It's to make yourself good enough to execute your own trades. Because again, everyone's different. We all see the market differently. So again, if you're not on the Discord room, but you are on Twitter, check out the Trading Agent. Also on Twitter, I'm dropping my trades as they come through. Hopefully you saw some of the USO Mosaic covered call, the XOP drip today in the 22, 21, 23 range, closed at 24 and change. Anyway, a lot of great trades. We'll get into them. Stick around, please. Promise. I promise. The information is worth sticking around. I know the videos might be longer than you want, but if you got one 20 to 30 minute educational class a day on trading, do you think it'd make you a better trader? I know it made me better. I mean, that's what I would read and study. I would go after hours. I'd study my mistakes. Bitcoin, we talked about this action being a potential bullish, or a head and shoulders top, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. This chart's never saved my volume at price. We talked about you couldn't get over this, was a failure. Talked about if you couldn't hold 35,000, you're going to 30,000. Well, we are at points where you are showing potential capitulation, which, I mean, again, it should bounce here. Technically, look at this range. It's been support forever. The first touch of it should be support. Now, the first touch is not what I'm more concerned about. Like, I'm more concerned about long term, that this is not going to work out well for bulls, meaning that, you know, Bitcoin has monster corrections. Anyone who's traded a long time since the 12, 13, when this first stuff came out, like, you have significant corrections. And could this be one of those? And if that's the case, like, this is the right shoulder leading to the waterfall. That's all I'm going to say. Please be safe. You know, buy and hold is great, but also learning to leverage a trend and know when to liquidate to buy back later. It's a beautiful thing, y'all. TLT. Again, we bought it on these 2 days, sold some. Talked about the 8-day being resistance. It hit it and it backed off. I put out an alert. I thought you could short it. I did a small feeler short because I do have some long still from the bottom. Very minimum. Because, again, on the first pops, the 8-day, it typically backed off. I mean, you could see it back off. The first bottom backed off, went a little higher. So obviously, I said too in the Discord, if you pay attention, the next one is the 20-day. Well, here comes the 20-day at 118, 119 area. That's what I'd watch. I don't expect a V bottom. Just like at the top, you had a retest and fail of highs. At the lows, you had a retest of the lows. Now, again, it wasn't a perfect retest, but I expect some sort of action. Like this went from, say, 133, it went up to 141. then backed up to 135. So at this point, what are you thinking, Dan? Well, I would think at some point you will test 112, 113. Now 114, 115 seems pretty reasonable. Again, we want to be as close to the bottom. People are like, oh, don't pick bottoms and tops. And it's like, that's why when swing trading, you kind of need to, because you need to be aware of the chop. I mean, check out XOP and some of our trades. We've talked about it. Like, that's one of the reasons why you try to identify and use volume price analysis. You use Jessie Livermore's thought process of capitulation, market action, and just levels to be aware. The dollar, we talked about this, holding high and tight. I know a lot of people want to get bearish, but then I zoom out and I show you the monthly. I mean, are we breaking out of this channel? It looks like it, y'all. I mean, just keep it simple. Speaking of monthly, check out the TLT monthly, why we thought it would bottom in the first place, the 200 month. And I said previous videos, I thought we'd close above the 200 month by the end of the month. We're above it. Doesn't necessarily mean it can't go back below it before it goes higher. The dollar, I'm telling y'all, something is not right with this market, and the dollar is a defensive position, and as long as it holds up, stay away from commodities. Just, I'm telling you, stay away. We played some Mosaic up today or yesterday and then sold some near the highs today. Congratulations again. We sold cover calls. Yeah, I mean, the dollar's going higher. I mean, it just feels like it. So we'll see. Now, this action up here, I call this high and tight. High and tight leads to higher. You know, because this is what's thing. People believe in these straight line moves. And again, if you were going to swing short it, you'd be using references at the highs. But at this point, I don't see any reason why it shouldn't go higher. Anyway, the VIX, we've talked about this. We hit our trend line. It's just basing high and tight. This feels like capitulation's coming. And when I say capitulation, the market crapping out and the VIX spiking. Where do I see it getting to? 40s, high 40s, low 50s. That to me would be a capitulation. We talked about the SPY popping, and again, wanting to see pops. Like these gap ups, and like not this one, but this close, this gap up and close, and this gap up, pop and close. This action isn't bullish. I mean, we're getting maybe finally to the capitulation where maybe it looks something similar to this kind of stuff right here, similar to this kind of action, similar to this before one. Again, these aren't really major capitulation points. I mean, again, people don't even realize, like, they've never even seen a bear market. Like, let's show some capitulation. Chop, and then those are not even really capitulations. Again, these is like bull market corrections. Let's go look at this. Here you go. You got like this choppiness, and then boom, a couple days of down. You see it right here. I mean, but again, COVID was like a one-off thing. Like, you guys haven't seen a bear market in your whole lives, potentially, some of you guys. And when I say see it, actually traded to it. Let me pull back. And again, just bear with me. I know this is slow and painful, but you need to see this. Let me just actually speed it up because I can go. What year are we in? 2009. Okay, here we go. That was the bottom in March 2009. So when you get like these capitulation moves, near term, where's the actual high? Here we go. So this is the high. Here's some of the chop, pop, and then this is like now, and then you had like this chop, and then it leads to boom. That's what I'm thinking we're in. We're in like this, you're making a slightly lower low, it's drawing in a lot of people, and then whoosh, wham. That's the slam action. But then remember what we talk about, double bottoms, retest. Look at the retest. It bottomed, rested, came right back. That's why I don't chase. So then we eventually got to lower lows, and it just that's 2009, and then goodbye, the fall of 2009. So where are we at now, Dan? I'll say it again. I think we're like kind of in this holding pattern of chop, high VIX in the 30s leading to lower prices at some point. Downside, we've said near term, zoom out. We're filling this gap here. I honestly expected to hold and get a better bounce. That says a lot. Keep in mind, like when you're a bear expecting a bounce and you can barely get a bounce, so I would think somewhere between 360s. I mean, trend lines, there's all sorts of convergence down here. I don't know. And again, this is what people are going to freak out. Like, what do you mean you don't know the bottom? When the VIX spikes to high prices, the emotions in the market blow out stops. They go way further lower than you would think. Just keep that in mind. So trying to have a hard and fast like bottom point. That's why I always recommend, like, the further the market drops, the larger your shorts are up. Look to cover some. Like, don't be a hero and think you're picking the fucking bottom. I'm sorry, I apologize to curse, but you're not. I'm not. We aren't the last person to sell. We're not the market maker, but the further it drops, the more shorts you should cover. Just keeping it real. And if you can't see the market like that, please don't trade. Just quit. If you can't close your shorts the further this gets lower, you were just begging for this bull market rally or bear market rally just to rip you off. So where are we expecting? I was thinking 280s, 270s. I mean, I thought this level would hold, and it did for 2 days. You can see it in blue, and it just didn't. I mean, somewhere probably, again, 270s, 280s. We're probably not that far off, but also, what have I shown y'all multiple times? I'll do it today. Remember from the highs in 2000, we went from 119 down to 62 in 2 months, 3 months. That was a 50% correction in the NASDAQ. Don't act like it can't happen again. If you do 50% for 408, it's taking you down to these old primary trend lines in the twos. I don't know if we'll get there. Like, here's the old primary channel. That would be incredible. I mean, again, because I think it would be a strong bounce point. You know, people would be sold and just blowing their brains out at that point. But if you see something down here, please do not stay short. Cover and look for shorts later. Again, I think the further we drop quicker, the more you need to take profit. If you can't roll that idea into your brain, you should not be trading. You just shouldn't. I mean, you have to remember the market's meant to be traded, but also too, bear markets, down action is not long-term trade. Like, that's not the long-term trade. The long-term trade is up, obviously. So be aware. You have to know your sequencing. IWM looks like crap. We're back at the COVID highs, pre-COVID highs down here in the 170s. I mean, it should bounce here, but guess what? It's not. So where do we go from here? I mean, fill in these gaps, 160s. I mean, this thing could get blown out. 250 down to 150 would not surprise me one bit. Let me zoom out and you can see why. I mean, you have a big volume at price node from 145 up to 166. That's a huge range. I get it. But the further this thing drops, the less you should short. Do I have to say it again? If you need to hear it, great. There it is. GLD. Same thing. I've warned you guys. Like, I just, again, in a capitulationary action, nothing is safe. At some point, what do you think is going to happen to gold? It's going to blow out like margin calls. Everybody's going to liquidate. And it doesn't matter that you think the price is too low. You're fighting the trend. And people are like, oh, the trend's up. And it's like, no, the trend is sideways to down, folks. That was the blow off high. That was the lower high. Look what we're doing, making lower lows. We're at the 200-day. It should hold. I like the 170 here. Watch the previous videos. But guess what? What do you notice down here? I don't see any volume. I don't see anyone stepping up to the plate. I don't see anyone stopping this action. So, again, you saw it down here. Then it went a little lower and bounced. Could it be like one of these where it's just like a soft, slow bottom? I don't know. But I really prefer to see the blowouts. A little spike in volume, a retest. Remember, notice the retest. I hope people realize that. Here you go. Oh, sorry. Here you go at the high volume. Bottom volume. Again, we'll see. I mean, you can see it better on intraday. I promise you. Like, the daily is not always the best. But you would think if the price is cheap, they can't hide it from the charts, if that makes sense. I don't think gold seems cheap. Let's go look at the 10-minute action. Opening, wide and loose, pre-market. You popped, you flopped at the end of the day. Again, I'm not seeing anything. Here's a close. Looks like liquidation and then a little bit of covering. It's not as obvious as some of the other trades. And if you're not familiar, go back to the previous videos. We talk about how to pick some of these tops. Silver, same thing. I mean, every day I get harassed. Oh, Dan, you love this stuff. You should be buying down here. I literally have no brainer buy zone. But what does it look like to me? This is what's concerning about silver. Big up, chop zone. Oh, shit. What if it breaks this chop zone? I mean, that's why I have this little special blue box down here. It's probably going to go down into the 17, 18 range. Yeah, lay off this stuff. GDX, I love it down here in the 29, 30. But guess what? I'm not going to be first. I am not trying to pick a bottom because I have seen bottom picking in the GDX that put me almost in the poorhouse. Literally. I mean, here was the COVID lows. I mean, you thought COVID should pull the miners higher. It eventually went from 16 up to 46. But look what happened. I mean, it went way lower. And then the volume showed up. And then we talked about that's the bottom, if you were around in 2020. That was the bottom. We are not seeing that action. I don't know what to tell folks. They just want to be early. And again, I prefer being early on a trend that I think is worth buying or shorting. But this isn't early enough. Again, seasonality. Q2 sucks for gold. I don't want to play with it, man. I just don't. The Feds want to knock inflation down. They want to knock inflation expectations down. All the stuff is in the sights of the trigger to be short and sold. Again, fight the Feds all you want, but they are the ultimate manipulators of metals. I'm not going to be an idiot and pretend like they can't. GDX, same thing. I love these zones. Love this price. Pass. AG, loved it at 10. Loved it at 9. Love it at 8. Pass. See you down in the 5 or 6s? I don't know. Again, I mean, you could start some snagging here. I'm not going to argue that. If you are a long-term, seasoned swing trader, and you know how to layer into a trade, I get it. Start layering in. I'm not going to argue that. These prices are ridiculous. AEM. Said 46, 48. I'm not there yet. I really like this company, NFGC. I know the Sprott machine is all over it. Started buying at 570, layering in small. The lower it goes, the more I'm going to add. Now, again, there will be a price point that I might need to stop out at, but I see the 5s as my support zone. Could we go lower than 5? You absolutely bet it could. Are we going to stop out if we need to? Yes. Maybe we'll even sell some covered calls. I'll talk about it if you're in the Discord room. But at this point, I bought a small feeler bet. When I say feeler bet, I'm just getting a sense of the market. I want to see my senses be right. And trust me, I'm not right all the time. I try to warn people like I'm not. But I also know what I'm doing when I'm not wrong, right? Again, when I buy a tenth of my position at 570 and it goes to 545, I could care less because, again, it's a small position. I'm not going all in. Hope that helps. Please be safe, my metals and miners friends. Pass, same kind of thing. I love these companies down here, but I love them lower. Absolutely love them lower. And if you're just, you can't wrap your head around the fact that the price action can go lower than you think, then you also don't realize this stuff can go higher than you thought when it was in a bull market. You mind, the stock went from $274 up to $43, $44. You do the math on that percentage-wise, that's an absolute dime of a trade. Maybe this time when we get down to 14, 15, we go up to the 70s, 80s, 90s, 100. I don't know. What's silver going to get to? Y'all know I think silver's worth $100 an ounce at some point. X said, oh, I like this at the 200-day, but then I really like it lower. Again, if the market hasn't capitulated, I know what can happen. Be thankful you got out at the highs. A lot of us did and hedged and told y'all in materials name, told y'all in gold, told you in silver, please hedge, sell, get out. Because now every pumper on Twitter and StockTwits and TradeView, like every day they say any day ending in DAY is a day to buy metals. And it's like, yeah, right. Because you've gotten slaughtered. And if you think 40% losses are normal in trading, then you're doing it wrong. Like, your losses always should be minimized. That's why my feeler bets, when I start them, if I'm wrong, they're small and my losses are small. I don't want to get into this topic again. It makes me sad to think that people just, they think this is gambling and they think they're going to win if they gamble. Like, it's the same thing. You gamble at the casino long term, the odds are not in your favor. That's how this game is set up, for you to lose the more you gamble without calculated risk and understanding of the markets. VALE, again, we told you to get out up in the 20s. We like it down here, but I don't like it if the market hasn't capitulated. Notice the pop today gave it all right back. CCJ, oh my God, people are like, uranium, it's at the trend line. Dan, what are you doing? You are a uranium lover. You should be buying this stuff. You know it's going higher. Yeah, I do. But guess what? It's the same thing. I don't want to buy it until the market capitulates. Because I've seen price action do what? Blow out. Yeah. Anyway, you got to know your risk reward. And so what's the next good zone? Any of these prices. And that's what I'll argue is like any of these prices are great. You can start feeler betting, but I'm just not that interested. Because why? Well, the market hasn't blown out. Mosaic, we talked about this buying at 56.20. Sold. Oh man, told you guys again. If you're following the Discord room, you saw this trade play out. You did great. We said we had a 2-day range lows. We noticed how it couldn't fill the gap. Let me zoom in, open it. Couldn't fill the gap. Made a higher low yesterday. What happened? It popped. We said when it hits the 8-day, take your profits. We sold covered calls. Look what it hit the 8-day to a perfect T. Couldn't ask for any better execution. Sold covered calls. It dropped $3. You're welcome. If you made if you made 6 points in 20 hours, points are all relative percentages, but I'm trying to give people cheaper stocks to trade because again, the more expensive stocks are actually easier technically to trade at times, but most people can't afford a $100, $200, $300 stock. Shit, even Google. I'm trying to bring the price action to the names that I think are going to be just as effective. This was a nice win. 56, 62.20. I don't know what to tell people. And then they didn't sell their cover calls, or they just held blindly. I genuinely feel bad because folks just sometimes just don't know what they're doing. And I'm trying to explain to you what I would do and just lay it out. CF, same kind of thing. 89, pop up to 98. That was a nice trade. That was another one that was on the radar, made a higher low. Now what? Probably chop out. Just know your levels. Sold covered calls. These things could absolutely get blown out too. Let's talk about the biggest culprit in the market. Every day I say this, please sell your tech for the long term. Hedge it. Don't hold blindly that a bull market in tech goes on forever, because it doesn't. I'm crying thinking about all the people who are just going to lose their complete shirts. On paper, they thought they were rich. They are going to leverage up with nice cars and nice houses, and next thing you know, they're going to have to sell their house. They're going to have to sell their car. They're going to get divorced because they couldn't wrap their head around the fact that in a bear market, something like AMD can go from 48 down to $3 and go from 42 down to $1.24. Oh my God, it went from $1 to 165, and you're just going to hold the whole time and watch it all come crashing back. Trying to talk slowly and quietly to make you aware of this. This is why I'm short this stock on every major pop. Pop there, failed. Pop there, failed. It needs to get in the 70s before it even thinks about popping. Apple, here's another one, been short. Again, I'm just tired of talking about this stuff and people just not listening. We talked about the action up here being a short. We talked about the post earnings pop and flop. We said once it got below the 200-day, it was destined to go lower. It didn't happen in one day, and that's where I think swing traders understand that. Day traders are like, what's going on here? I got to get in. I got to get out. Oh, my God. It's not going. Patience. Where are we at on the monthly? Again, I know they have a monster buyback, but look at the stock, y'all. From 2008, post-split, dollars to 180. Please do not think it's going to go up forever. Holy Jesus effing Christ. You are going to get absolutely smashed if you don't realize when bear markets hit. Because look at the bear market, say, for Mosaic. I'm just going to pull up a freaking any of these commodity names. You don't realize. Look what they did. Up to $1.70, down to 24, up to 6.87, eventually got down to $6. I'm not saying Apple's going to $6, but I'm just saying the upside is done. And if you can't wrap your head around that, and same thing with, say, Facebook, you are the person who doesn't win long term. That's just the nature of the market. And people are like, buy and hold forever. Buy and hold in an uptrend. As soon as the trend changes, you got to go. Look at this. Lower highs, chopping. It's going to flop at some point. Facebook, to me, who knows? What if it turns into MySpace and it's worthless? The metaverse, what if it's worthless? Who goes to the metaverse? I don't know. Maybe I'm an old fogey. I'm the idiot, but I don't think I would not pay a single penny for that Facebook. I think it's worth zero. Look at the volume today on Roblox earnings. You've got a potential bottom here. Keep an eye on it. We said this thing is probably going to get bought out. I believe it will. Don't believe me, believe your stops. Tesla. Oh my God. I warned people in the 1200s, please take your profits. We talked about this was the final blow off. Then Musk starts selling and you think it's worth buying. He sells in the 1100 range. We're back at 700 and you're still going, well, Musk, wait, Elon, Musk sold and you held. What do we say? Once it breaks the upper channel, sayonara. You're going to hold Tesla and you're going to take a monster bath. Not tomorrow, maybe not next month. I don't know, but you're not going to like how it ends. Probably at some point will bounce. But if you don't sell that bounce, you're going to come crying to me on Facebook, on YouTube, and say, teach me how to trade now. And I'm going to say, you know what? I don't know if I can help you because you didn't listen the first time. Why do you expect to listen now? Oh, but I've lost all my money. Okay. Well, I can't really help you. Your account now is gone. Preserve your account, not your ego. EXPI, I love this company. Here's an example of fundamentals that don't matter. I have this in the IRA. I get this as shares for payout in my real estate transactions. I mean, I like the company, but I don't have any delusions that it couldn't get absolutely smashed. And it is. UTHR. I mean, it's just sad. Trading channel. Talked about this is a good like trading stock. It's holding up really well. I mean, I think as a biotech, compared to like the EXPI, looks pretty good. I mean, look at it holding up. That's the stock you want. That's strength amongst weakness. Keep that in mind. Like, don't ignore this stock. Let's end it with the oil names because we shorted oil, we shorted XOP, we shorted everything oil related. Now, again, where did you short today, Dan? I shorted up in the 78s. It really wasn't anything other than I just felt XOP was going to lead us lower. It didn't really show me any distribution signs other than like this started little peel. This is all a field trade. I mean, again, it's watching the XOP. So let's get into the XOP because that's where oil drillers lead oil. Talked about popping up here today. The drip, we said 135 was probably the max range high. Everyone was saying the 20-day. I said, okay, I'm going to start really going stupid big at 135. Was a little earlier even that. Guess what? Guess what? It cracked. Look at this. Look at this action. Smash. Look at the drip. If you bought it at 22, you got it at 24. Now, 24.33. Congratulations. I mean, I'm happy for the people who are trading this because again, you don't see. I guess I hope people realize like this stuff doesn't really get me up or down. Like I'm used to this. This is normal for me. We're not gonna sit around and say how awesome I am. No, like the market, you're only good at your last trade. So your ego needs to be 0 because you could turn your wins into losses very quickly if you get stupid. Shorting it, expecting a big move down. Why, Dan? X oil. 100-month 0.382 old IPO. The stock has gone from $20-something up to $1.48 was the high, I think 147, whatever. Who gives a crap? Oh, it's going higher. No, look at that. That's a lower high. If this 125 range breaks, you're going to see this thing turn into a straight waterfall, and the drip will probably not drip. It will turn into the gusher of upside, and it probably can get into 30, 35, who knows, 40 range if things get really crazy. Ended on ExxonMobil. What did we say? We said watch what happens up at the highs and fail. But Dan, why? Volume at price zone, bro. Volume at price zone, bruh. Whatever. Look at these wicks. 30 to 92. Okay, you keep holding forever. Now, again, this is the same thing. Imagine this is a swing trade. You're in a bull market in ExxonMobil. What do I tell you to do? The more you're up, the less you own, and then wait for a pullback. Oh, my God. Then it clicks. I hope this stuff helps. Again, stop by the Discord room. If you really genuinely want to learn and you're not far from figuring this out, I know your problem because I've executed and fixed those problems myself because it was all mental. You know how to trade. I know how to trade, but can you execute? That's the question. Talk to you guys and gals tomorrow. See you in the Discord room. Be safe, be smart, be looking out for potentially capitulation bottoms. We can't stay overly bearish all the time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.